Me noho tātou, please be seated. Ko te tangi a te pipi wharauroa, kui whiti ora, whiti ki ronga, whiti ki raro, whiti ki te whai o ki te ao marama, ti hei Māori ora, tēnā koutou katoa. I te tuatahi ka mihi atu au, ki o tātou tini aitua kua wehi atu rā i tua te ārai. Nō reira, rātou katoa, haere, no mai rā te rangi Māria. Nō reira, kahuri au ki te ao tangata nei, kia koutou katoa, piki mai, kake mai. Te tuatahi ka mihi ki o tātou manuhiri, tuarangi no tua i te moana nui a kiwa, koutou, haere mai, i rongi i te kāranga anga maunga e tuana. Me ngā wai e takoto ana i rongi ngā Pākihi whakateka o Waitaha. Haere mai i ronga i te karanga a aua kaumātua, tupuna. Nau mai, haere mai. Ka hoki ngā whakaro ki a koutou, ngā iwi o Aotearoa, Tuai Pounamu. Tēnā koutou, nau mai. Nō reira, nō te taha o Ngaitahu, ki o koutou katoa, he mihi, tēnā rā koutou katoa. It's with a great pleasure that Ngaitahu stands with the university, its council, and its staff to welcome you here today. As always, what we tend to do is acknowledge those who have passed beyond. So to all of those who have passed through the year, the month, and during this period, greetings to those and haere te rangi Māria. Farewell. Just as importantly, we also turn to the world of living, and in particular to our international visitors who have come here to support those whānau today and the students who have graduated. Our greetings to you. And when we greet you on behalf of our mountains, who we see as our ancestors, and the rivers that flow through Canterbury. So on behalf of those who we acknowledge as our ancestors, welcome to Canterbury, welcome on behalf of our tribe and the University of Canterbury. And to all those of you who have come to support your family today and those who are graduating, greetings. Kia ora koutou katoa. Thank you.
Good morning. I welcome you to the University of Canterbury and invite all present to stand, remove trenches, and join in singing the Māori and English versions of the first verse of the national anthem as in your program and displayed on the screens behind me.
God of nations, at thy feet, in the bonds of love we meet. Hear our voices, we entreat. God, defend our free land. God, Pacific strip of star, from the shafts of strife and war. Make her praises heard afar. God defend New Zealand.
Please be seated. Ka tangi te titi, ka tangi te kaka, ka tangi hoki aho, ti hei Moriora. Ro rangatira ma, no mai, piki mai, haere mai ki te whare wānanga o Waitaha. No reira, tēnā koutou, kia ora tātou katoa. It is a pleasure for me to welcome you to this University of Canterbury graduation ceremony as I serve a second year as your elected Chancellor. I can report to you that the university is in good heart. After the worst that nature threw at us in 2010 and 2011, the university has delivered 2 full years now of teaching and research, and at the beginning of a third year is well set along the path to recovery. Recovery which in itself compounds hope for a better and brighter future and brings with it a sense that we are regaining control of our own destiny. As our Vice-Chancellor has observed, we are not out of the woods yet, but the dedication and hard work of our university community have brought us safely through thus far, and the resilience of our staff and the persistence of you, our students, are the indelible hallmarks of our response to the most extraordinary period in our university's long history. The signs of recovery are all around, not least in the remediated buildings and new facilities which, one by one, have come on stream after the summer break and will continue to do so. What is less visible, but even more demanding on our staff and the council alike, is the relentless work which is going into building a new relationship with the government as our principal stakeholder, based on its announced support for the University of Canterbury as a world-class institution and its preparedness to invest in our strategic development plans. It is expected that our business case for that support and investment under the UC Futures rubric will have been considered by Cabinet before the end of this year. A favourable outcome would lend new vigour and stimulus not only to the University of Canterbury, but to our city and region and to the nation itself. So much for the future. Now is the time for celebration and congratulations to our graduands. It is the time to acknowledge their talents, their commitments to the goals they set themselves, and the disciplines they imposed upon themselves, in many cases, years ago. This is the time to celebrate not only their hard work, but also their resilience, because winning a university qualification never comes easily. This is an occasion our graduands will remember for the rest of their lives. I hope that from time to time they recall not only today's triumph, but also the setbacks, disappointments and doubts they encountered and had to overcome to be here ready to graduate today. Our great admiration goes out to those graduands who found ways to manage the challenges of our recent everyday life here in Canterbury, as well as the competing demands of study, family life and a working career. We especially acknowledge those for whom university once seemed a daunting prospect, something out of reach, an impossible dream. This might have been because of a disability, because they had tried already and failed, because they had not studied for many years, because English was not their first language, or simply because they were the first down all the generations and centuries of their family to have had both the desire and the opportunity to go to university. I was one of those, and I know that many of you are too. It is a time as well to acknowledge and thank the two most important groups who have contributed to the success of our graduands: the university faculty, those lecturers, tutors and support staff who gave so freely of their knowledge, time and assistance, and those family members, whānau and friends who supported those graduating today, the ones who offered practical help and encouragement in times of stress and anxiety. They were critical to your eventual success. Let us note too, as a community and as a nation, how much we will benefit from the achievement of our graduands. They have the greatest potential to make a difference. They will contribute knowledge of the latest research and developments in their field. They take with them the ability to think on a higher intellectual plane. And as they depart, they leave us with the electric charge of success, which is so critical to the reinvention of the university. Many will become leaders in their professions. All will work in the service of humanity. Many will go beyond our shores. I know that wherever they choose to work and settle, they will use their new skills to contribute to the making of a better world. Wherever they live and work, today's graduates will be University of Canterbury alumni. They will remain family and become part of our worldwide community of scholars, well in excess of 100,000 strong and comprising a global supportive network. We look forward to maintaining contacts with them and welcoming them back home whenever they choose to come. It is time now for me to say the words which, under law, give effect to the highlight of our celebration. As each of our graduands comes forward, let us call to mind their work, their commitment, and the determination which have led to this, their special moment. I now convene a ceremony of the University of Canterbury for the conferment of degrees and the receipt of diplomas. In the name of the University of Canterbury, I, Lionel John Wood, Chancellor, now confer degrees in this university upon those who are about to be presented. I call upon the Vice-Chancellor, Dr. Rod Carr, to introduce those who will present the graduands.
I would now call upon the Deputy Dean of Postgraduate Research, Associate Professor John Harding, to present the doctoral graduands.
Sir, I have the honour to present these graduates for the conferment of degrees of Doctors of Philosophy. Suzanne Craig Adkins in Environmental Science. Sigaya Sebastianella Amalathis in computer science. Mervyn Chandrapal in mechanical engineering. Adam Michael Fuller in mechanical engineering. Patrick Henry Gegan in mechanical engineering. Tim Huber in mechanical engineering. Patrick Gentry Cayley in civil engineering. Sayan Kumar Ray in computer science. Stacey Michael Rendell in mechanical engineering. Jason Leslie John Ryan in chemical and process engineering. Roy Brendan Shillington in electrical and electronic engineering. Ni Zhang in electrical and electronic engineering.
I would now call upon the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering and Forestry to present the graduands in his faculty. Professor Conan Fee.
Sir, I have the honour to present these graduands for the conferment of degrees and receipt of diplomas. Master of Engineering with Distinction, Alice Pin Chen Chu. Masters of Engineering, Peter James Christopher Grange. Yi Wei Hu. Masters of Engineering in Management with Distinction, Carl Alexander Hodder. David Keith White. Master of Engineering in Management and Graduate Diploma in Science, Nathan James Ainsworth. Master of Engineering in Management and Bachelor of Science, Toby Robert Piesey. Masters of Engineering in Management, Laura Margaret Ansell. Christopher James Bloomfield. Samuel William Brick. George Chowji Tai Fairhurst. Jonathan David Hardy. Thomas George Peter Harding. Courtney Brooke Johnston. Andrew Jeffrey Lewis. Ching Wei Lu. Jin Chin Lo. James Thomas Moore. Andrew Barton Mulligan, Patrick Khan William Neal, Todd Francis Rabbit, Chloe Rebecca Smith, Jessica Lorraine Templeton, Julia Rose Toner, Pavana Yavari, Masters of Engineering in Transportation, Edward Benjamin Cook, Tristan William Hook, Master of Engineering in Fire Engineering with distinction, Darren Sean Glasgow, Master of Engineering in Fire Engineering, Philip Michael Spellman, Master of Engineering Studies, Chun Liang Kai, Bachelor of Engineering with First Class Honours and Bachelor of Commerce, Kirsty Edwina Clara Lawrence. Bachelor of Engineering with Second Class Honours Division 1 and Bachelor of Commerce, Angus John Ronald Grant. Bachelor of Engineering with First Class Honours and Bachelor of Science, Andrew James Kernow. Bachelors of Engineering with First Class Honours, Cameron James Bellis, Senior Scholar. Brittany Olivia Vickers Challis, Senior Scholar. Julia Catherine Clendon, Senior Scholar. Samuel James Corbett Davies, Senior Scholar. Robin Lai Yun Lee, Senior Scholar. Scott Matthew Lemon, Senior Scholar. Richard Clive Malcolm, Senior Scholar. Daniel Brendan Noah, Senior Scholar. Vladimir Abelensev. Andrew Robert Aiken. Aidan Arick. Scott Nicholas Bamford. Christina Mary Bell. Christopher James Benson. Kate Alexandra Brooks. Harvey Lindsay Breward. Dominic Charles Graham Campbell. Nicholas Edward Harold Claridge. Suji Hope Clarkson. Benjamin Lee Conning. Alexander Peter Corbett. Emily K. Craigie. Stuart David Davidson. Jonathan Marinus DeWitt. Christopher Max Dempsey. Darren Michael Duragutsi, George William Ellis, Scott John Evans, Peter Michael Falloon, Richard Allen Fletcher Fernando, Craig William Fowler, Matthew James Franklin, Anton David Dirks French, Abhinand Ganugapati, Joseph William Garvin, Callum Ross Gordon, Daniel Alexander Gray, Cameron Allen Gunn, Sloane Robinson Gunn, Nicholas Simon Hawkins, James Nathan Hewitt, Christopher John Hewlett, Timothy William Hobbs, Gabrielle Margaret Hoffman, Annalise Claire Francis Johns, Harry Christopher Johnston, Nicholas Ryan Joyce, Duncan Peter Keel, James Shaw Kearney, Samuel Malcolm Kelly, Mitchell Bradley Kemp, Adam Kinyang Kwang, Matthew Wyber Lenson, Campbell Edward Letts, Alexander Jason Peter Lippert, Alexander Keith Loy, Ryan David Lee McNabb, Isaac Luke Manuel, Craig Daniel McConaughey, Hamish John McCormick, Anna Catherine MacDonald, Timothy Mark McKee, James Graham McKerrow, Edward Wiramu McMillan, Christopher Vincent Meeklem, Gareth John Morris, Samuel Noel Nelson, Scott Anthony Nang, Annalise Marie Orshott, Matthew Brian Parnell, Ian Craig Patterson, Erin Rachel Payne, Richard Jeffrey Penwell, Jonathan Ian Philpott, Darrell Edward Pinfold, Sarah Frances Poole, Georgina Louise Preston, Thomas John Richardson, Charlotte Rose Robertson, Andrew Ralph Robinson, Hamish Joshua Rose, Lewis Mackenzie Rowland, Callum Alexander Rutherford, Matthew Neil Scott, Thomas Richard Shaw, Campbell Laurie William Sinclair, Alexander George Smith, Rebecca Louise Soph, Akshay Sridhar, Brendan James Sutherland, Sitsa Jan Tacoma, Daniel Ethan Thompson, William Kinnaird Twitchin, Stephen Leo Van Workum, Benjamin Patrick Wanklin, Max Peter Walters, Matthew Glenn Watson, Timothy John William White, Matthew Walter Wigley, James Michael Williams, Cameron Robert Willis, Harrison Harper Wilson, Nicholas Robert Wilson, Regan Baden Wood, Bachelors of Engineering with Second Class Honours, Division 1, Samuel Thomas Arts, Daniel James Aiken, Kevin McBride Anderson, Bjorn Lewis Arndt, Ryan William Ashworth, Andrew Aiden, Laura Badcock, Mark David Bassett, Aaron Luke Beardsley, Claire Hannah Bewley, Christopher Neil George Wood Bignall, Richard Matthew Blenkinsop, Hayley Rose Burnett, Samuel Kent Bastard, Shadev Kumar Chouhan, Matthew William Codlin, Stephen James Conlon, Frances Claire Cook Willis, Martin Pacon Cox, Liam Keith Cumberpatch, Ian Webster Daniel, Timothy James Day, Andrew Lawrence Dean, Timothy Robin Doyle, Luke James Edwards, Jeremy Leighton Enos, John Benjamin Evans, Chi Yang Fang, Nicholas James Fargo, Alexander David Finch.
Well, it's my pleasure to introduce this midpoint musical item. Our students today are going to present Little Sea Gongs, which is a well-known, composed by the very well-known New Zealand composer and entertainer Gareth Farr. It's a small companion piece to a major work which he composed for the New Zealand Symphony Orchestra entitled From the Depths Sound the Great Sea Gongs. If anyone has heard that performed live, it is a truly amazing piece of music. This piece started as a short drumming piece to end the composer's stage show called Drum Drag. It was never notated and is intended to be flexible in its instrumentation. Today it'll be played on 4 log drums and a kick drum. The drumming style is inspired by Rarotongan log drumming, and as you'll see in a moment, is a visual spectacle in itself. In 2006, Gareth Farr was made an officer of the New Zealand Order of Merit for services to music and entertainment. Today's performance of the Little Sea Gongs will be by Roanna Funke, Andrew Bell, Jordan Ryan Peers, and Rachel Thomas. Would you please welcome the performers?
Bachelors of Engineering with Second Class Honours, Division 1. Kalyani Kishore Gurpadi. Joshua Reuben Gibson. Alex Ralph Goscombe. Kurt Lewis Graham. Stefan Alec Grobecker. Max Oscar Habercorn. Amy Marie Hardy. Edward John Harvey. Helen Adele Hendrickson. Pierce Laughlin Hennessy. Jeremy David Higgins. Mitchell Christopher Hill. Kelly Louise Holden. Shelley Marie Holder. David James Hopper. Christopher Murray Horn. Gareth James Horn. Lachlan Michael Howitt. Jonathan Philip Hughes. James Robert Hussey. Elizabeth Rosa Ireland. Farah Siafika Binti Ismail. Matthew Blake Jager. Matthew James Geeson. Timothy Campbell Harry Johnston. Artef Ronan Khan Ebenson. Aaron William Kibblewhite. Hannah Jane Lambie. Andrew Paul Landmark. Samuel Richard Langlands. Holly Jade Leher. Thomas Alexander Edward Loudon. Lisa Margaret Sissenwine Mace. Ryan Matthew McKinnon. Angus William John McVicker. Lachlan Jesse Matchett. Hairangi Brian Martonga. Eli George Maynard. Oliver James McArdle. Scott Robert MacDonald. Percy Sebastian Raphael McFadgen. Hamish Stewart Meads. Reuben Carl Meader. Hayden Daniel Milburn. William James Minish. Nicola Vivian Murdoch. Justin Zin Yik Mok. Daniel Joseph Momich. Alex James Morate. Samuel George Morrison. Kian John Morrissey. Jason Anthony Xavier Motha. Christopher John Nelly. Hon Ying Ning. Andrew Douglas Nang Ki. Stuart Guy Nichols. Isla Louise Norris. Michael Bernarith Nee. Cameron John Oliver. J. Woo Park. Todd Keith Patterson. Jennifer Claire Parvard. Todd Philip George Peckett. Michael James Phillips. Andrew John Poland. Thomas Gordon Stewart Pride. Rebecca Caitlin Rappel. David John Rees. Adam Grant Robertson. Cameron James Rooney. Campbell Eric Rowlands. Muhammad Sharul Iswan bin Samad. Lily Margaret Sanderson. Jonathan David Selkirk. Ching Yu Andy Shang. William Michael Silcock. Matthew William Simmons. Benjamin Marcus Snellam. Shane Alexander Soulsby. Michael Carl Southern. Michael John Spedding. Victoria Jane Stevens. Jared Thomas Stephen. Ashley Marie Stewart. Jack Patrick William Taylor. Leighton John Taylor. Lien Yong Tay. Henry Edward Thomas Kircher. Jonathan Andrew Zachary Thompson. Andrew John Thornton. Andrew John Tolan. Benjamin Ryan Tomlin. Michael Grant Top. Nicholas Johannes van den Broek. Rudolf Walter van Niekerk. Samuel Gordon Varley. Jasa Sol Webb. Julia Stephanie Wild. Andrew David Williamson. David Anthony Wood. Scott Jeremy Woodhead. Luke Douglas Woods. Robin Mao Zier. Bachelors of Engineering with Second Class Honours, Division 2. Nicholas Charles Mulgard Anson. Emily Catherine Barton. Nathan Luke Berry. Jeffrey Thomas Dixon. Ty Drummond. William Dufour. Aaron Mark Gamble. Keziah Grace George. Richard Allen Gramstrip. Wen Guan. Regan James Gunther. Vincent Trevor Hay. Alistair Barrett Hudson. Leslie Allen Humphreys. James Kean Hunter. Hugo McGregor Henry Johnston. Robert James Johnston. Brent Peter Sevica Jones. Ishan Eep Kavur. Isabel Jane McLennan. Mauli Kumar Patel. Jared Samuel Reed. Josiah Tamati Simmons. Matthew Bede Smith. Ta He. Morgan Henderson Thompson. Jacobus Francois van der Elst. Whitney Carlo Viatupu. Jamie Alexander Veron. Rachel Danielle Wardlaw. Anna Brodie Willis. Benjamin Lyle Sydney Woods. Timothy Yee. Michael Yonggen Zhang. Ying Chun Zhao. Bachelors of Engineering with third class honours, Mohammed Tawfiq bin Ahmad Fadzal. Fiona Karen Crook. Harriet May Davies. Umeshwaran Iswarapacham. Craig Stanley Hill. Michael James Horsberg. Hani Keegan. David John Stevens. Shurhao Tay. Yuhan Wang. Bachelors of Engineering, Muhammad Hazim Muhammad Kamal Elwi. Yu Ram Han. Michael Francis Poff. Struan Robertson Wall. Timothy Mark Wenborn. Master of Forestry Science with Second Class Honours, Division 1, Irene Adu Aberko. Master of Forestry Science, Nicholas Edward Henry Adkins. Bachelors of Forestry Science with First Class Honours, Grant Dennis Pearce, Senior Scholar. Jessica Mary Brown. Melissa Lynn Pendley. Simon James Trotter. Bachelors of Forestry Science with Second Class Honours, Division 1, Trent Ryan Beckman Cross. Kimberly Constance Everson. Kirsten Louise Stewart. Bachelors of Forestry Science with Second Class Honours, Division 2, Mitchell Tom Habercorn. Benjamin Morris Morrow. Robbie Andrew Ramloose. Bachelor of Forestry Science and Bachelor of Science, Joshua Thomas Moyman. Bachelors of Forestry Science, Alexandra Mary Brooke. Annalise Cara Buckley. Brady Paul Clements. Thomas Grant Cross. Celia Jane Falloon. Ricky Allen Green. Thomas Andrews Carstensen. Sean Jackson Kelly. Ivan Paul Luketina. Matthew Peter Owen. Michael John Scully. Simon Van Handel.
This morning's graduation address will be given by Professor Jan Evans-Freeman. Professor Evans-Freeman is the Pro-Vice-Chancellor of the College of Engineering at the University of Canterbury. She is a Fellow of the Institute of Professional Engineering and also a Fellow of the Institute of Physics in the United Kingdom. She currently holds roles as a Director of Transpower and was until recently a Director of Industrial Research Limited before it became part of Callaghan Innovation. Professor Evans-Freeman joined the University of Canterbury from the United Kingdom in 2009, having previously worked at Sheffield Hallam University and Manchester University in the UK. It's my great pleasure to invite Professor Jan Evans-Freeman to give this morning's graduation address.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, members of Council, staff, graduates and guests. Today is a ceremony for you that marks the end of one era and the beginning of a new one. In other words, it is a ritual that marks a change from one stage of life to the next. We have many ceremonies throughout our lives which mark the passing into a new life, and today is a joyful and significant event that you have worked incredibly hard for. It marks the symbolic transition for you into the rather more daunting prospect of a life of work or study as a qualified engineer, wherever that may take you. In some places, graduation is actually called commencement, a very fitting name indeed, in my view. As staff, sitting up here and applauding you, we fully understand and are impressed with your commitment, your dedication, and sacrifices you have made in order to be here today. We are very proud of you. I want to talk to you today about aiming high. You have already aimed high in your lives by choosing to come to university and sticking it out. Now, I urge you to step up to a higher level of ambition altogether. A drawback of a university degree is that we can unintentionally become focused on a specific goal, whether it be passing a test or graduating with a first-class honours degree. However, in this way, we do not really learn. Largely, we do whatever it takes to achieve our objective of passing through the university system. Deep learning and understanding follow over many years and achievements, or possibly even failures. As you now tackle employment or further study, you will meet a variety of situations for which a university degree could not have prepared you. But the deeper learning you will acquire will be your guide. You may be involved in running the national grid to supply electricity to every home in the country. You may be designing life-safe buildings. You may be at the cutting edge of medical technology. You might be making critical decisions that directly impact society. At the moment, today, you probably can't imagine doing those things. But I urge you to consider that they and other high-profile and risky challenges could be in your future. In other words, don't ever aim too low. You've already aimed very high in just attempting a very difficult degree, so please don't stop there. Aiming high takes courage but brings its own rewards. We now live in a society with technology advancing at an exponential rate, whilst unfortunately poverty and disease advance at a similar rate. Whether you want to solve all of the world's water conservation problems, whether you want to tackle global health problems, or whether you want to invent the latest flexible miniature computer gadget thingy that plays soothing music while it does major finite element modelling and cleans the house at the same time, please have a go. Don't be timid. There will be support for you along the way, and you will develop into a free thinker capable of great inspiration to those around you. Surely, much better to do this than to wake up in 30 years and think, oh, if only I'd tried that, or if only I'd done this. Insert your wish list here. Completing a degree already shows the immense strength of character that you will require to aim high as you join the world of work or further study. As new students, we, and I include myself, I do remember, all start out so very excited. Then we do a few exams, and some of us realise that time in the bar is better spent with study materials. Then we settle into a comfortable routine, and then suddenly we're halfway through, which comes really quickly, but we don't think we know anything. Then all at once the end seems too close, but so far away all at the same time. It takes courage and fortitude to stay on that path. Now your golden opportunity is to aim high in your chosen future. Don't be afraid to have very long-term dreams. After all, a degree is a pretty long time. I bet you were dreaming about it whilst you're still at school and you've survived it all. Here you are. I used to dream about being an academic whilst I was still an undergraduate, and sometimes that seemed so far away from me. But as I passed through the various stages of my studies, gradually I started to realise that many other people had become academics over the past several centuries. If that was their desire, and if I kept going on my chosen path, it would probably eventually come my way too. Of course it did. And then every new position and opportunity that arises still causes me to consider my own abilities and to be a little nervous about applying. There may be those around you who think you should aim lower than you actually want to. Every time I got a promotion, a particular family member of mine would say, "Jan, surely you've stopped wanting anything more now. This is enough, surely." And I used to say, "No, I haven't finished yet." Aiming high leaves us open to the risk of failure too, but we should not be afraid of that. Probably my own most spectacular failure was not in the world of work, but in a leisure activity. A not very well kept secret is that I have a deep passion for motorbikes, and I mean very fast motorbikes. I had a long-standing dream of being a race winner, and at the grand old age of 40-something, I took up motorbike racing as a hobby. I did actually win one trophy once, but I have to confess it was probably because I managed to stay upright in a race that was declared wet. I was not fast enough, and I knew it, but during those 3 years, I explored territory well outside my comfort zone. I met some fabulous people, and I set personal bests and top speeds round corners I could only imagine. I got my knee down as well. If you ride a motorbike, you know what that means. I never, ever regret trying. I definitely would have regretted not trying. As an aside, as a slightly less dangerous hobby, I then took up scuba diving. I'm also not fabulous at that, but it's given me a whole new dimension to my life. I leave you with a quote from the great painter, sculptor, architect, poet, and engineer, Michelangelo. The greater danger for most of us lies not in setting our aim too high and falling short, but in setting our aim too low and achieving our mark. My message to you is, don't be one of those low-aiming people. Go out, make a difference, be ambitious, and keep learning all your life. My sincere congratulations to you all, and my very best wishes for a bright, interesting, and successful future.
Well, on behalf of us all, thank you very much indeed, Professor Evans-Freeman. What Jan didn't tell you is that her first degrees were actually in music, and among the other things that she has done is she has reconstituted the university choir. So, definitely aim high, sing high, and may you all prosper. As we bring the formalities of this celebration to an end, I think it's important to note a few things. Many of you started at the University of Canterbury in 2009. So did I. A number of you would have been in halls of residence, and on a number of occasions I had the privilege to go and speak to students. And in a number of those occasions laid down what I thought was the deal that was struck between the university and its students. It was quite a simple one. The challenge was that you would bring your curiosity to your task, your open-mindedness and your willingness to learn. That for its part, the university had an obligation to transfer skills and knowledge to you, that you might acquire the disciplines of your chosen area of interest. And then the third part, and now is your hour. The third part, that you would go forth with courage, using that knowledge and that discipline to make the world a different and better place. There can be no doubt in the last few years in this city that the profession that many of you are entering of practicing engineering has better been understood as one of the pillars of safety and security in our society. You will have to exercise not only your technical skills, but your professional judgment. That is why we call universities a place of higher learning. I know that you will have acquired during your time at the university a breadth as well as a depth of knowledge. I know that in joining the over 100,000 living alumni of the University of Canterbury, you will go forth and play your part. I would also like the opportunity to do something I really do, because so many of our staff do such wonderful things. But since Professor Conan Fee has stood in front of you for an hour reading, I might just remind ourselves that, in fact, the department of which he is a part and has been a leader of chemical and process engineering was directly affected and displaced by the earthquakes. Yet it continues to be ranked as recently as last week as the most research active and intensive chemical and process engineering department in New Zealand, and continues to earn well above average record levels of research income, all for a department that lost its prime building and faculty and laboratory spaces. An example of the kind of leadership that has gone throughout the last few years at the University of Canterbury. I would now take us to the back of the program where the words of Gaude Amus are printed. I will ask you to stand as a mark of respect. Would those of you also remain standing while at the end of the singing of Gaude Amus, the stage party will lead the graduates from the hall. Please stand.
Gaudiamus igitur, Juvenes dom sumus, gaudiamus igitur, Juvenes dom sumus, postucandum juventutem, post molestam senetutem, nos abet betumus, nos abet betumus. Vivat Academia, vivat professori, vivat Academia, vivat professores, vivat membrum quod libet, vivat membra quae libet, semper fide implore, semper fide